Hello, everybody. Already got a fair amount of people in here. How's it going? How is it going, everybody? Adroit, Ashish, what's up? Nabil? What's up, JVS? Hello. As if we weren't already talking. All right. So today is a different type of stream. We're not doing the same thing where I run through a million different designs. Today, I'm probably only going to have time for 2. That's it. But we're going to be working from scratch. And I want to look at specifically portfolio designs that people have submitted in my Discord server. You can go ahead. I already know which one I'm going to start with. Something somebody submitted previously. And I'm going to start by redesigning their portfolio from scratch. And then I'm going to take another one based on somebody who has submitted here already in my Discord server. So the Discord server link is linked in the description here on YouTube. So you can just come here. And if you're a first timer in my Discord server, you'll be in the roles section. You have to click one of these emoticon reacts, and then you'll gain access to the feedback form where you can submit your design. Here's the thing. There's a bunch of people who already submitted their portfolio URLs. The chances that I'm going to choose yours, pretty slim, but still, there's a chance I could choose it if I think there's enough for me to change and to teach. And I'll be doing this off the cuff, by the way, at least for the second one. I have an idea of what I want to do for the first one. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to basically just take a look at the UI and some UX considerations of your design portfolios. I'm going to try to help make them a lot better, at least in the couple examples that I feature here. You can send a super chat if you want. If you send a super chat, I will try to delegate some time at the end where I will do quick either portfolio or design reviews, anything you design. I'll review it in my typical fashion, but you have to send a super chat and mention your Discord username. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the very first one that I want to get started with is by a user called Naz in my Discord server. Actually, I wonder if this is it. Yes, this is the one. So Naz, I know you're watching because you just submitted it again. This is Naz's portfolio. So he's a web designer and web developer. You can see that pretty simplistic, but there's a number of issues that I've identified, and I want to redesign this, at least just this top portion. Of course, there's a lot more content going down here. But I'm going to redesign just the desktop above the fold portion up here and identify problems that, at least from a UX standpoint initially here, and also from a UI standpoint. So I'm going to redesign this. And first of all, you guys who've been watching me in the past have known that I always advocate when it comes to menus on desktop, you don't want to have the whole hamburger icon menu situation going here. When you click this, you can see he has 6 different links. That's enough. That's not a ton of links. It's not just a few, but it's in that medium range where you definitely have enough room to put those links on the desktop. So this requires your users or your potential clients to have to click here just to see what the navigation holds. So in terms of UX, that's not a good pattern. It's understandable if you're coming out here at a mobile resolution, you don't have enough room for all those links. So that's a more acceptable pattern, but not on desktop. That's one of the things we're going to change. We're going to change this a lot, actually. We can see the headline, the primary headline is Stylish App and Web Designs. Well, what I want to see is a stylish app or web design. That's what your client, your potential client, is going to want to see. And you should show it right here because you have all this space, especially on desktop, to show some sort of depiction, whether it's literal, like an actual screenshot of a stylish app or web design that you created before in the past, or more of an illustrative concept. And I think that's going to be the route we take. We can see there's some design elements like this little pen graphic here. The color kind of clashes, especially with this bright green and the gray here. I don't think that's effective, although I will still implement this idea in a different manner that's more effective, at least in my opinion. And we have some other just elements here, like the circle graphic and this little element right here. I think we can work all this stuff in and make it much more effective from a UI and UX standpoint. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is just push this off to the other monitor. You're not going to see it, but I will bring it back and forth periodically just so you can get an idea of what I'm changing up here. So let's go ahead and do this. Wow, we got 300 people here. It actually helps to change up your YouTube titles, apparently. So he did use a gray background. So I don't want to change this up so it becomes a completely different design. I want to keep as much of it as possible just so we can still work off the same concept. Get out of here. What are you doing? Why can't I move this over? Okay, there we go. So we're going to take this and we're going to make this a gray background, a very light gray. Like I'm going to do F7, 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 I think. There we go. So it's a really light gray. And we'll just add that to the swatches. And we're going to put his name up here like he had before. That's totally acceptable for a personal design portfolio. The actual, you just having your name for where the logo would usually sit, that's fine. So Naz Miss Ashrafi, I can't even pronounce it. I'm sorry, dude. He also had a rounded font for this. So let's make it... I know you can't see it right now. Let's make this bigger. He had a rounded font. I'm going to use Nunito, which is my go-to rounded font these days. There we go. And just right around here, size is like 33. Position it right there. So here's what his was. He's using a really bold and really heavyweight sort of rounded font. Especially for the headline, it's actually kind of hard to read. It's so bold. So definitely going to tone it down a notch there. I'm not going to include the web designer and web developer tagline or the slogan or whatever right here, just because I think it's unnecessary. People are going to understand who and what he is just based on the ad copy or the headline right here anyhow. So we can get rid of that at least. So we're going to put this right here. We're going to duplicate it and we're going to work on that right here. Sorry, I'm reading the comments right here. So I'm going to put in his navigation. So the navigation links, again, his is in a hamburger menu format. We're going to make them, we're just going to show them all at once because that makes much more sense. So home, about. By the way, in terms of a UX perspective, the home link, there's been research done on this, and you should have a home link in your main navigation. You shouldn't just require people to rely on clicking the logo to go to home. People want to see a home link as well. It's just an interesting tidbit. So we got about. Sorry guys, I can't read all the comments and focus on this as well. So periodically I'll try to look back at them. Services, I probably should look at them in case somebody's being ridiculous. I have to kick them. Services, portfolio. I should look at them in case there's some type of technical issue, like nobody can hear me anymore or whatever. And then contact. So let's take all these. Now, right now, in terms of visual hierarchy, these are exactly styled the same as the logo. The logo should really stand out the most. So the way we can do that through design here is a number of ways. First, we can make it regular. Second, we can take the scale down. There we go. And third, we can change the color. So maybe we'll work within the same blue, but we'll desaturate it and make it darker. Let's also get this blue here and add it to the swatches. There we go. And just take them, move them over. And okay, looking at his, let's bring this back. We have this dark mode switcher, okay? So that's really quite prominent. I mean, look how big the dark, this toggle button is in contrast to the actual logo. It's like so much importance has been placed on this because of the scale and the location that it doesn't really make sense. This should be more of an afterthought, tucked away maybe at the end of the navigation on the upper right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this, I'm going to redesign it because there's a little bit too much happening here. And I'm going to make it much more simple. And we're going to put it right over here in this section. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So what you do to recreate that is take a rectangle tool, just drag out a nice rectangle, and we'll get the border radiuses here and bring them all the way in. And then I'm going to get rid of the border. I really don't like thin, high contrasting borders like 1 pixels or 1 point large because it makes it look just makes it look cheap, and I just don't like that usually. So that's a little bit of a subjective preference there. And instead of making it white, which we could barely see it because of the light gray background, we're going to make it a little bit darker than the current background color. So we'll just go like this. Very subtle, very light. And then I'm going to take the ellipse tool, hold Shift and Alt, get rid of that border. Might want to make this a little bit darker. All right, so now I'm looking at the size of it, maybe even scale it down just a tad bit more. And ultimately, you would have to play around with it like on a mock-up or whatever, a prototype, and just to see how big or how large it feels. But certainly for a desktop, it's fine, in that manner. So there we go. So that's how I'm just going to treat this navigation. So we've gone from, if I can find the design, we've gone from this so far, just look at the upper portion, to this right here. So if I just hit play, we could see a larger version. I think this is more effective. So now let's continue on here and look at, let's see here. Look at his original design. So what he has is stylish app and web designs. That's fine. I'm fine with that ad copy. It's better than just saying I am a web designer or a web developer. That's kind of boring. Everybody says that, or a lot of people. Ideally, when it comes to ad copy, and this goes back to more of a UX perspective, you want to use ad copy that emphasizes the benefits over the features in general. So the feature is that you're a web designer or a web developer or a graphic designer or whatever. Okay, people don't really care about that. They want to know how you're going to benefit them. So something like stylish app and web designs kind of is more of a feature, but you really want to emphasize, most importantly, how you can benefit them. So coming up with good ad copy it's an art itself, and it's a skill. You have to understand marketing and behavior, and also it's one of those things where you would want to do usability split testing with this, just testing different headlines to see if they result in a higher objective of some sort. So if you want some people to click on something, if that's the goal, or if you want to increase the amount of people contacting you, or if you want to if you want people to scroll down, you want them to stay longer on the site, you want the bounce ratio, which is the time it takes for people who exit your website. If you want to increase all those things, you have to do split testing, and there's a whole methodology on that as well. And I may be creating an actual series on that. I'm looking for sponsors for that, usability split testing sponsors. Okay, so stylish app and web designs. You want to see a stylish app in web design. That's what I would want to see if I was a potential client. We want to see, because we have all this room. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep this headline, but we're not going to make it the focal point of this page. We want the work or some sort of graphic to be the focal point. All right. So it's going to be stylish app and web designs. Okay. So let's make this large. Ralph, I do have a video. I have one video from 5 years ago, back in 2014, of the importance of split testing. You can just look at it. It's an old video, though. I definitely am going to be revisiting that topic. Let's make this bold, by the way. All right. So I already, yeah, I like this color. We're using the same color as the navigation up here. It's pretty large. When I'm designing, sometimes I experiment with the placement of the words and stuff. I actually kind of like this. Plus, if I put this on a second line and web designs, it's going to free up a lot of space here to put in some sort of illustration or example of a stylish app or web design. So let's go ahead and bring that up just a tad. All right, and I think maybe I'll increase the size slightly. Right there. All right. So I think we could also have enough room to put in maybe a subheadline, a small sentence or two. So I'm just going to put in something relevant to maybe expand on this headline. I help deliver the crap. What am I going to put? I help deliver a great user experience that looks stylish. Okay, that's so stupid. I would never use that, but I'm not really thinking right now. My mind's going a million miles a second. You get the point. I could have just put lorem ipsum text in there. Something like that right there. So the size is 31, the size is 68. It's good separation between these two in terms of design so that we can really establish that hierarchy. I'm also going to put in a call to action here. So he had a call to action on the previous design, which is right here. It's this little scroll indicator. I think instead of having that, if we give people an actual direction to click on, maybe a couple buttons, it would be more effective. So what we'll do is we'll put in a button right here, and we'll get rid of the border. We'll make the button color, this is going to be our primary call to action, the same blue here. So really we're just reinforcing those same colors here. And I think just maybe a slight border radius. Again, a lot of what design is subjective preferences. But I try to focus on only tackling what is objectively right or wrong when I teach. And it's hard. Sometimes I do let my own preferences get in the way. I'm going to put in see my work. So this would take them to the portfolio section where they actually, because that's going to be the first thing that a client would want to see. They want to say, what is this person capable of? I want to see the work he's done. Now, again, that's an assumption on my part. You would want to test this ultimately, which is a part of UX design and being a UX designer. So let's go ahead. We'll bold this up. And depending on how much space we have left, these may be a little bit too, let's see here, too wide. For the second one, we'll make this one, I'm not sure. He has like a skills link. Look at my skills. I don't know. See my work and look at my skills. I think we'll just go with that for now. For this button, you really don't, when you have two call to actions like this, you want to emphasize one more over the other, because obviously when it comes to information and displaying content and objectives, There's always going to be one that's more important than the other, the one that, you know, a person's going to want to see the most. So you don't want to design the button in the same exact manner. You want to separate them visually, and you want the one that's most important to stick out the most. So we need to de-emphasize the importance of this look at my skills button. So to do that, we can just make it contrast less. You know, we could do something like this. Of course, we would change the foreground element to be darker if it's light. We could go all the way white and take the white text then and make it this color here. And then maybe also make it regular. So that's something we could do. You could just barely see the button container. That's fine. I don't know. Maybe I might want to change this to more of like a... That could work. So a lot of it's subjective. So we have this here, and now what we'll want to do is over here put in some type of depiction of a stylish app or web design. So for my thoughts, let's take a look at what he has, by the way. Let's go back and see this. So here's what he had. All right, this is what he has so far, and this is what we have. All right, so we're already starting to work this up quite a bit, but the focal point, we want to put in some sort of stylish app and web design. And again, this could be literal, or it could be abstract, or it could be illustrative. I'm going to take the illustrative approach just because I don't want to go on and try to screenshot somebody's design or something. So we're going to do like an illustration, a very simple illustration. So I'm going to take the rectangle tool. Let me check make sure everything's going fine here with the YouTube chat. All right, everything's fine now. All right, so what we'll do is, let's see here. I think we're going to put like a mobile phone type of viewport. And let's take the fill. Let's get rid of the fill and give it a border. Maybe thicker. Maybe around, yeah, 7. Could make it white or very light. Let's do, I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to give this one a, oh, by the way, we have blend modes now in Adobe Experience Design. They just released that update like a week or two ago. Now let's work in some color here. So I think I'm going to try to use the new blend mode feature. All right, I'm going to take this. We're going to make it white. And I'm going to right click, arrange, and bring to front. Okay. I'm going to duplicate this one. Kind of like get it pushed over here. I'm going to try a different color like this. And let's play around with the blend modes. So darken. That's kind of cool. So this is going to be more of like an abstract representation of like some sort of interesting stylish design. Stylish, I think of colorful or possibly that could relate to that idea. And you could play around with other ones like what's multiply that makes it a little bit darker in the middle, color burn, nothing, lighten. So I think I'm just going to do darken. And then I'm going to put some just like kind of a skeleton UI filler in this middle section. So I'm going to take this, get rid of that border, that's ugly. There we go. There, okay, so just trying to get the thickness right. Duplicate. Maybe we have like some paragraph or something here. Take these two, replicate them maybe. Maybe right here I'll put like a placeholder image. And this time, this one will be like, it'll have a border, no fill. It'll be white. I think we use, well, we'll go around here possibly. We'll take in the line tool. Make this white. Increase this. Well, maybe I'll leave that like less thick. We'll see. Duplicate it. Put this up here. Not sure if I like that. Don't worry. I'm going to make it look better. And then I think I don't know, maybe we'll put in like a button or something here. So you know what? I really wish Adobe Xd would remember your previous stroke and fill settings. Like why did they do that? Very frustrating. Okay. I'm not even sure if I like these right like that. What is this? This is, what is that stroke width? 9. Okay. So this is 7. You want to make sure all your strokes are pretty much even. I'm going to think spaced out here just a bit. I'm going to take everything in here, deselect that. I might make these a little bit. There we go. Just try to get a little bit more white space around the other elements so that they're pieced out a little bit further. Maybe I'll put this down here. I want it to really be pieced out more. Take these 3, duplicate them. Push this down. And what would be really cool is if you had like an actual SVG animation where maybe this content right here was kind of flowing up out of the viewport and maybe new stuff was coming in. There's a million different things you could do with SVG animations. So that would be really, you know, a cool thing. So let's take a look at what he's done. We're almost done with this one. The original right here, he had some small elements like this little circle graphic and this little star element and this pen. I want to work that in as well, but just do it in a different manner. So let's do a pen. What we'll do is get the pen tool, and initially it's always easier if you have something that's symmetrical like a pen or something to do it vertically first or horizontally. So I'm just going to do shift here, make sure we line up with the starting point. I'm holding shift here to get to the 45-degree angle. We'll do the top of the pen. There we go. And then come out right around here. And there we go. We're going to make it bolder. And for now, we'll have this little bit of a higher contrast. I want to work in kind of like a similar shape. This isn't perfect, though. Let me see here. Actually, it doesn't have to be perfect, but that's fine. And then we'll take the pen tool. I think his was pretty similar to this one. We'll do 7, round end cap. We'll take this and push it down. Duplicate, duplicate, duplicate this. I want to push this one down a little bit more. Okay. Now this is contrasting way too high. So what we'll do is take the border, or yeah, the border element, and make it more of an afterthought, because we already have some, you know, a fair amount of stuff that's happening here. Oops, there we go. Let's make this a group. Maybe we'll push this up. And he also had some other elements here. Let's see. Let's take a look at the, oh God. I did not mean to hit my damn email. No. Okay, good. I could just do that. I get much spam. I just didn't want a bunch of like nasty, poor, damn it. adult emails are like showing up because it gets spammed so much. All right, so what we'll do is, I can't believe I just like showed my emails on there. They're probably all spam anyway. He had some other elements right here, like this little element and that element. I want to work that in here. So, mother effer. What we'll do is, I'm going to work in kind of like a similar idea, like the little star icon, but there's going to be like plus icon. 7. Yeah, and then I don't even care. And then we will, where's the rotate? I thought I could rotate this. Why can't I rotate this? That's freaking annoying. I don't understand. What is happening? Do I have to rotate it up here? I thought there was like a rotate option. How annoying. 90 degrees. There we go. All right. And again, we want to use like the same color. So same border color. And we can work these in just randomly. It depends on how many you want, you know, whatever. Placement of these things is kind of important because it can throw things off a little bit if they're not placed correctly. I think these are, all this stuff right here is standing out a little bit too much, so I want to even drag them down in contrast a little bit more. So there. And then you could even do more stuff. I mean, you could add polygons if you wanted to. I mean, you don't want to go too crazy though. So like we could do a triangle. We got a border here. Again, you want it all match up. Of course, Adobe Xd doesn't remember for some strange god-awful reason. They never work that in. You know, what are you going to do? Maybe make these a little bit larger. There. All right, so that right there is the redesign. So let's take a look at the first one. This is the first one. And we changed a number of things. We got rid of the tagline, don't need that. We changed up, and we got rid of this. There's a gradient on here, which I don't think works well. We changed this up. We showed the actual navigation instead of having a hamburger menu, and we made an actual, you know, design that, you know, a stylish app or design of some sort depicted in more of an abstract manner. So we hit play here. This is what we came up with. All right. I hope you guys think it was a lot better. I think it would perform a lot better as well. So how long have we been doing this? 32 minutes. That's almost perfect. All right. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at other people's submissions here. There's probably a lot of them. And so the one that I choose is going to be the one that I think I can do something with in the limited time that we have. So if I don't choose yours, it's just, you know, it could be because I don't think there's enough for me to work off of or whatever. Or it could be I just hate you. That could be it too. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I don't really hate anybody in the Discord server. People I hate, I just get rid of. So this one, I kind of like the colors here. This is an effective use of a photograph background. It's really squashed out as a watermark, as it should be. You can really see what's up here. I think this is a little bit funky, right, aligning these two things. I understand why he did it, but I don't really think I could do much, you know, with this particular example to really drastically improve it. So we're not going to do that one. Oh, that's the one we just clicked. This one looks pretty good. I'm looking off on my other monitor, by the way. here's one that I think we could probably improve quite a bit. So IS is just a word mark for his name. IS is an initials, passionate programmer. You know, we might actually work with this one. There's a number of things I'm noticing it's kind of wrong. You say hello and then contact me. It's like the same thing, right? Contact me and say hello. So you have two links that are going to the same location. Yeah, like the problem solving label, these aren't equal. So you'd want to fix that. By the way, the person who gave me a super chat, thank you very much. I think that was a droid. That was earlier. All right, let's. I think we're going to focus on this one. So this person's not a designer. This is a programmer. So I think it would make sense. Again, this is kind of like the same concept as the previous one, where he says he makes stylish web designs and app designs, but didn't show us. A programmer is generally not sitting behind 6 screens. This reminds me of Matrix. So I think we can showcase code in either a literal or abstract manner. Now, a literal manner would be a literal photograph of code, and maybe it could be used as like a watermark in the background or something. Abstract, of course, that could work very well as well. I'm a fan of that. But because I just did an abstract representation in the previous example, I think we'll do an abstract or a more literal representation in this one. So we'll work with a photograph this time. We're going to try to find a code photograph, a picture of a monitor with code on it, and work it in and revamp this stuff right here from what I see. All right. So we'll try to get this done again, maybe in like 30 minutes. So let's rock. I'm going to go to unsplash.com to grab a photo that I think will work. So let's just type in code. Now, what you choose is pretty important because if you can really screw it up. If there's matrix code, of course. And so we want to choose something that will work well with maybe whatever idea we have in our heads in terms of the direction that we want to take it. I'm just kind of searching here, trying to get an idea of what's available so that we can make this work. I kind of like this one up here. I'm not sure if we can make that work. Ooh, let me see. Maybe not. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it really, in reality, if this were a real project, I mean, choosing the right photograph is very important. So you don't generally want to rush this type of stuff like I'm about to. That looks kind of cool. I mean, we would really have to squash this in order for it to work, because even though it's kind of dimmed out, it's not high vibrancy. There are elements, there are a lot of small elements like the UI navigation in this code editor, which looks like Visual Studio Code. It's really sticking out a lot. I'm going to open that up in a new tab as one of the possibilities that I'll use. And let's continue on. We might search for another search term like programming. This is sort of cool. I like the fact that it's kind of skewed. Might use that. I think that's the front runner. If we could squash this big time, I think it'll work. And I may bring it into Photoshop as well, because there's a lot of colors in here. And when you work with a lot of colors, it can really clutter things. So we may desaturate it a lot. All right, so I think I'm just going to go with this one. Download free. All right, I'm thanking this dude. Let's show his portfolio up here. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so it's the fact that this is also JavaScript helps as well. All right, so where did that image go? On my other monitor here, I'm going to go to my downloads. Well, let me click it again. There we go. Show in folder. All right, so I'm going to open up Photoshop. How many people we have watching so far? 361? This is great. Wasn't expecting this. All right, Photoshop is opened up on my other monitor. Let me get it over here. Let me first just open the image in Photoshop. And the reason I'm bringing it in Photoshop is because Photoshop's raster based. So we can make adjustments that we couldn't make first in Figma or Adobe Xd. And therefore we're going to make them here. So image adjustments, hue and saturation. Now we could completely desaturate this thing like that. I'm kind of leaning towards doing that anyhow, but I don't know if I want it to be completely black and white. So I can colorize it by clicking the colorize button right here and take the saturation right around there. That way we have a little bit to work with. All right, I kind of like that. Now I want this background to seamlessly kind of go like transition from this section. So there's a little bit of cutoff, right? I could tell like this, whatever this item is here, there's a little bit of different color right here. It's gonna cut off. It's not gonna look right when we get it in. In fact, I'll just show you. Let's take this. We're gonna copy it. We're gonna go back to Adobe Xd here. We're going to go to New, Web 1920 by 1080. There we go. I'm gonna save this in case he wants it. I'm gonna call it NAS. There we go. And I'm gonna first get a container for this. And then, well, not first. I think we'll just paste this in. Why is it not pasting? Damn it, Gary. Get back to Photoshop. You can paste right. What's happening? I thought you could paste from Photoshop. Like, what is happening in my life right now? Maybe it's so large. It's a really large image. So yeah, we don't even need a 5900 pixel image. We can get down to like 1900. There we go. So this is the full size. It's pretty large as it is. Also, it's a little bit square, so I think I kind of want something more like that. What I'll do is just, there we go. Does that still work? Let's go to Adobe Xd. There we go. There it is. So, oh, we cut off that area anyways, so we're not going to see that cut off like I mentioned. I don't want to just paste this in because I want to be able to control. I want it to, yeah. When you put it into an actual container, you have more control over its location and its size and scale and all that stuff. So what we'll do is save this. Save this off screen. As you look at my files, snooping around like you will be doing to my email that was showed earlier. Actually, let me just save for web. There we go. This could be a JPEG because it's, just a straight up. Where's my, it seems like they changed this up. This says it's optimized 360 KB. I'm not really too worried about that. The file size just for this example. So, oh yeah, the quality. You could take your quality down big time. You can still not notice a huge difference and get a lot less of a file size. So you can definitely optimize this more. So let me save this. I'll save it to my desktop. And What the hell? It's not even giving me the option to save the file. What the hell? Oh, there's the file. There it is. I have two different resolutions on my monitor, so it's like screwing up the UI of Photoshop. Okay, there. Now what I do is find my graphic wherever it is. Let's close this stuff out. I really hope this, I said herp. I really hope this works. This is my idea for this. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work out how you anticipate it will. And this is how I anticipate this working out. So we'll see. I want to get this back up so we can see the chat here. This is the before. This is what we're redesigning. All right. So again, we're going to have to really squash this in terms of the opacity. The opacity doesn't look right because I still want this to be darker, but there's white behind it. So what I'll do is, we could do the two ways. So you could take the artboard and make the background the same color as this. Get rid of that stupid stroke Adobe loves adding on everything. Or we could duplicate this element, change the color to this, but put this in the background and keep the artboard white. So maybe we'll have a container. So let's open up the layers. I called it Yo, by the way, the graphic. I don't know why. And then we can squash this like that. All right, so let's see here. Now we have a background that's a little bit more relevant to what this person does. He said his he has a little logo. Where is it at? IS. All right, so that's relevant. It's it's creative. I'm gonna do the same thing. Make it white, and we really want to make this sucker bold. So I don't know. I don't like that one. Montserrat and Nunito. That's pretty much what I stick with for my tutorials here. Medium, semi. Okay, this will work. I'm not really too caught up on the logo itself. I'm not gonna worry about changing that up. He has say hello and contact me. He has a lot of, let me see what he has here. We have his skills, education goals, contact me. I mean, you can stand to have more nav items than just contact me. You want people to be able to click and access these points, even if it's just a single, scrolling page. So we'll just put in a few links here. So we'll put in, screw it, we'll just put in home. Make this medium. My work. We'll only have 3. And contact. Something like that. All right. Again, we may need to squash this even more, but we'll see. After that, what else does he have? He has his name. I guess that's relevant, but in terms of what's called information architecture, does it make sense to prioritize visually over anything else his name as opposed to what he can offer? And that's going back to features over benefits. So I don't think so. Passionate programmer could definitely work on that ad copy. So we'll see what I can come up with. And I want to make this more different than the other one, just to show that, when you're designing, there's a huge realm of subjective design decisions where you can go really creative so that they don't all look the same. All right, so I'm going to be really thinking about that. But there are standards when it comes to creating user interfaces, and that is like having your logo typically on the upper left with a navigation on the right, at least in desktop, and then a real strong headline to allow people to know and notify them or educate them on what it is that, you know, the purpose of this site is. So a strong headline. So it's he's a passionate programmer. How can we rework that into something else? What are the benefits that a programmer can bring to you? I don't know. This is why lorem ipsum is so much easier to work with, because you don't have to think about the ad copy. Let's see. Stop thinking the fact that there's 400 people watching you right now. I'm like, that's going through my mind and it's preventing me from thinking of good ad copy. Maybe somebody has a suggestion in the chat. Let's see here. What would be good? I bring your projects to life. Bringing your projects to life. Something like that. Screw it. I'm going with that. I bring your projects to life. Maybe it's not appropriate to call it ad copy, but this is just copy. This is two, not, there you go. Getting ahead of myself. Let's experiment with the boldness. I like that. I bring your projects to life. All right. I like that. I do like that. Okay. I bring your projects to life. Now, that's a little abstract, so we can expand on it. Oh, his name. It'd be worth mentioning the name, maybe above it, which is, you know, let's see. I cannot pronounce that. I'm just going to copy that here. Now, again, this goes back to separating the hierarchy or establishing it and, you know, bringing it down quite a bit. Maybe make it medium, not italic. That's his name. Maybe we can give this color. He had color worked in, and it's kind of like this teal color. So there we go. And the reason I wanted to give it color is because I'm going to have a sub headline right here. So let's see here. Did he had passionate programmer, but I made, all right. So he doesn't have 3 type elements, but I'm going to, because we need to elaborate on, you know, I bring your projects to life. That's a benefit. That's great. But the sub headline should kind of address the feature. The feature is you are a programmer. Now this one will make white. So I'm a programmer with 2 decades experience. Little bit hard to see this because of the photograph based background is including type. So you may need to squash this a little bit more. And also, you can always, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go back to Photoshop. We're going to take this thing and we're going to push it over here. All right, because I want this photograph right here to kind of start where these numbers are, like in the middle. That way you can you can see the actual type, and it's not going to, you know, create a conflict of interest or of some sort. It's not going to pollute the eye with all this type here. So we're going to move it to the middle, and that'll also give it an interesting design aesthetic as well. So we have to work with this though here in Photoshop first to make this work. So I'm going to use the eyedropper tool. I do know the chat has gone away, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned about that. But we have to work with this first. So where are my layers? Window. Oh, it's on the other monitor. So we're going to take the background, give it this color, And we're going to need to kind of use the eraser tool. It's already large. We'll do like 700. And just kind of, oops, not that one. Just kind of fade this off. There we go. And then same thing with over here possibly. Or not. I think we'll leave that. So now we're going to save this again. I'm going to save this and yo. I was just looking at my file names that was mentioned here. Pop-up windows suck. That's a graphic, a JPEG. Interesting. Let's see here. Oh my God, the fact that I'm switching back and forth between these items, it's not letting me save the file name. Come on. Let me go. Sorry, it's taking a little time. Okay. Yo. Okay. So now watch. So what we'll do is I need to open up that location. Users. Sorry, 1 second here. All right, so what we'll do is we're going to select that element and we're going to put this new one in. Ah, look at that. Let me hit play. I like that kind. I think I kind of like that. I would probably play around with it more if I had more time. Maybe I would rotate it more so that it starts more around the IS and kind of comes through. Kind of don't like that as much as I thought I would. Damn it. Let's see here. Well, this is the process of design, unfortunately. We can scale this up. There we go. All right. We'll try this again. I may even, you know what? There. We'll save that. All right. So let's try that again. We'll bring this in. I like that better, I think. Yeah, I kind of, maybe it's rotated too much now, but you know what? Screw it. So let's continue on here. Oops, don't want to click on Skype. So now what we'll have here, let's take a look at what he had going on before. So he had an illustration. He does have a call to action. He has some of these elements here for GitHub and Twitter, LinkedIn, which that's okay to include there, as long as they're more of an afterthought. So have a project. I'm not sure if that really makes sense to ask a question in a button. So I'll put in have a project. I don't know, hire me. I'm not going to think about the copy too much. And you could do, let's see here. I'm almost wondering, because we already have the relevance here of the photograph background. We don't need to have a separate column like illustration like we did before. Sometimes if you want it to be real simple, you can just take everything and center it. That's an option. Again, it's subjective. You could definitely do this if you wanted to. I mean, this is a very simple, but I would say effective revamp of his portfolio. So Yeah, a call to action, very subjective. As long as it stands out, it'll work. So hire me. That's one such way. Again, people probably want to see your work and what you're capable of before they're going to hire you. So it probably makes sense to put in something like, you know, my work. People want to see that most. And so, yeah, personally, if this was my project, I would probably have 2 columns of some sort, or I'd work in another illustration that says something about code. But for what this is, it is, you know, clearly it's very simple, but it's elegant, it's sleek with the background here, and it's relevant. So yeah, I think this works well. I could probably work in color right here. Probably make that a little bit smaller to get in this color code here. Scale it down just a bit. Very simple is what this is. Trying to think if there's any other quick element that I could add here that would make sense. And I'm just experimenting here. This isn't centered up correctly. Okay. Yeah, I think this is fine. So this is the first one. There was issues with alignment big time. This should be centered vertically more so. But we went from this to this. And I think it just does a better job, and it doesn't look quite as, I would say, generic with this graphic right here. And it's a lot more simple. So this is a very simple take on it. So let's take a look at the 2 revamps that we did. So this one, I'm just going to call this is. And the previous one, let's see here. We're going to open recent NAS. So here's one we did for a designer. NAS's example, shoot. If I could find it on my Discord. Right here. So this is what NAS had. This is the one, the very first one that I revamped. And this is what I came up with. Hit play here. All right. I didn't have any prototyping or anything, but I designed this from scratch. Second up, we did this right here. We went from this to this. Let's hit play just to get it larger. What would really be cool if this was a video-based background. It would look exactly the same, but the video background would maybe kind of a scroll code in a very subtle manner, so that it's not too distracting. And that way we could work in some movement in the design. All right. So yeah, color on the CTA, that would work too. You don't necessarily always have to, but yeah. So let's see. It is now 1 hour and 3 minutes. That worked perfectly. I can't believe it came up to an hour. Awesome stuff. I have 380 people watching. Very, very good. All right. So also, oh, there's a super chat. Let me check my dashboard here. Jordan Felder. Jordan, where is your design? I'm going to do a quick review before we wrap this up. It's Jay Felder. Okay. This is Jordan Felder's design. Thank you for the super chat. We're going to do a quick review here. Don't send any more super chats, people, because I have to be done. My kids are going to get antsy. I'll answer some questions at the end, too. All right, so this is called the Author Incubator. I've seen this already. He must have integrated some changes, but I can't remember what the first one looked like. So let me work with this just real quickly. Let's see here. I'm going to take this padding. Let's see here. It says widget. This is on a class widget. Let me see here. Let me open this up. Wow, there's a lot of divs here. What is happening? What was created? What was used to create this, I wonder? Because that's an insane amount of divs right here. Well, we'll work with this one. Padding. I wanted to get rid of the padding at the bottom, so I put that to 0. I also want to take this element right here. There it is. And the padding, Jesus, on the top. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Okay, and then what I want to do is take this margin bottom. It's not working. Maybe I have to target a different element here. Oh my God, what is with all these divs? Jordan, what are you doing? This is going to be margin top. We'll do 1.2 EM. I just wanted to push it not done yet. All right, so let's see this. Also, the line height on this, that's not working. You want to, why is this a span, an H1? Line height right there. That's better. All right, so this right here, this free masterclass for coaches, blah, 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 I think we want to lessen that text. You should only have probably one line of text here, just because it's real content heavy in terms of text. I separated things out just a little bit differently. I'd still like to work with it more easily by using like a prototyping tool or a design tool. That way I can quickly change it up. Working with code, it's slower. So it's not perfect. But I think this is better representation than what you had. So if I refresh this, things were just spaced out funky, like way too much space. My space was probably a little bit too close, but somewhere in the middle ground would be a little bit better. I like the fact that they're changed up, like in terms of color, and this is much larger. But I think that they're just all spaced out a little bit strange. So I would work on the spacing. Plus, this whole section, this container, you have all this space at the bottom, but hardly any space at the top. So you want to push that all down so it's centered more vertically. The call to action button works. Yes, show me how. You want to center this vertically because there's a lot of space underneath. So try to get the spacing right. Might want to squash out the background a little bit more because this is a little bit hard to read. And I know you probably wanted to show her face, but I would still, this is a large photograph. You could probably still squash the overall height of it. Because just there's, this is this amount of text, but we have this large container here. You definitely want to increase the contrast on these elements because people aren't going to be able to read that. That would fail the contrast test. It wouldn't be AA for WCAG 2. But other than that, it's structured pretty well. Again, it's not even worth putting this here if people can't read it anyways. So either remove it or increase that contrast big time. All right, good stuff. I think you probably did improve it from what you first submitted anyhow. So that's it. All right. Thank you guys. I will talk to you guys real soon. So yeah, we might do more of these types of live streams. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about it. And yeah, I will see you guys real soon. Goodbye. Here's that awkward silence when I try to close the stream out.